Good morning, children. Next topic is self management skills. So, self management, which is also referred to as self control or self regulation, is the ability to regulate one's emotions, thoughts, and behavior effectively in different situations. So, this includes motivating oneself and setting and working towards personal and academic goals. So, students with strong self management skills are able to different activities effectively, including managing their timelines, focusing on their task, cooperating with others in school and at home, and perform better in their studies. So, it helps in future studies, work, and life. So, in our life, we should have always this self management or self regulation skill to effectively run our life. So smoothly run our life, we should have this quality, that is self regulation or self control. So, introduction to self management. So, after writing an exam, have you ever felt that you should have studied more? Or do you think that you could manage your hobbies, interests, and studies better if you could manage your time well? So, self management involves understanding yourself, understanding what your interests and abilities are. So, like this, I can heal myself, I am organized, I am in control. Spirit, body, emotions, mind, everything is in our control. So, having a positive attitude and grooming yourself in order to develop self confidence. Self management can also help in developing good habits, overcome bad habits, reaching your goals, and overcoming challenges and difficulties. So, being able to manage yourself helps you to avoid stress and provide opportunities to get involved in fun activities. Self management skills include the following. So, let us see what are these self management skills included. That is, self management include self awareness, that is knowing yourself as an individual, your values, likes, dislikes, strength, and weakness. That is, you should be aware of your character. That is, what is your weakness, what is your strength. So everything should you should know. Then self control, that is ability to control your behavior, discipline, etc. Then self confidence, believe in yourself that you can do any task that is given to you and not scared of taking risk. Problem solving, understanding a problem and finding a solution using step by step method. Then self motivation, doing task on your own without any external motivation is called self motivation. Then personal hygiene and grooming, keeping oneself clean, healthy, and smart. Then positive thinking, expressing certainty or affirmation even in tough situations. Then teamwork, working together with people to accomplish shared goals. So all these comes under self management skills. So all these comes under self management skills. Then time management also, achieving tasks on time and accordingly plan the situation. Then goal setting, planning concrete goals to be established, accomplished within a set time frame. So, which of the following is not a self management skill? Problem solving, bargaining, understanding self, confidence building. So, which is not a self management skill? Yes, bargaining is not a self management skill. Then, grooming is term associated with time management, problem solving, neat and clean appearance, self management. So, we have seen here what is grooming. So, it comes under it comes under personal hygiene and grooming, which is a self management skill. So it means keeping oneself clean, healthy, and smart. So grooming means neat and clean appearance. Next is strength and weakness analysis. So, have you ever wondered why you get good marks in one subject and not so good marks in another subject? So, knowing what you do well or not so well will help you in converting your weakness into strength and strength into an exponential, exceptional performance. So, the strength and weakness analysis helps you in this process. So, strength and weakness analysis begins with knowing yourself first. So, first you should know your beliefs, values, dislikes, likes, opinions, background, etc. So, first you should know yourself. That is, it means understanding who you are, what you like, what you do not like, are your beliefs, what are your opinions, what is your background, and what you do well and what you do not do well. It is important to know who you are, because only then you can measure your strength and weakness. So, strength and weakness, like examples of strength are: I am good at understanding other people's emotion. Then I am confident in dealing with strangers while keeping myself safe from any harm. Then I help my parents in household chores. I play cricket very well. Then examples of weakness: I am unable to resist junk food when my friends suggest. Then I would like to learn more about computers. So these are weakness. So strength and weakness analysis. So being self-aware or understanding who am I means looking outside our usual characteristics, such as our name, qualification, and relationship we have with others. So it actually means knowing our inner strengths, hidden talents, skills, and even weakness. So let us look at what could be our strength and weakness. So, strengths are what you do well and are good at, and everyone has some strength. Then, weakness, also known as areas of improvement, where what we do not do well and we are not good at. So, everyone has some weakness also. So, by understanding ourselves, we can know that we can and we cannot do, what we can and what we cannot do. Based on that information, we can plan what and how we can improve ourselves. By improving, we will feel confidence about ourselves. So, how we can identify our strength and weakness? So, take time off to think about what you do well. Take time to think of what you do well and think of anything that you are always good at. Then think about what others appreciate about you. So, all these things are your strengths. All these things are your strengths and your weakness. The point out the areas where you struggle and what you find difficult to do, or look at the feedback you receive from others. Be open to feedback and accept your weakness without feeling small about it. Look at it as an area of improvement. So, this way you can identify your weakness. Here are few questions that you can help you find your strength and weakness. How am I different from others? What do I do better than others? What do other people admire in me? What makes me stand out? So these questions will help you to understand your strength. Then these questions: where do I worry and struggle? Where, how, and why do others perform better than me? What advice for improvement do I often receive from others? So, all these are areas of your strength. So, difference between interest and abilities. So, you will have interest, but you will not have the ability to do that. So, let us see what is the difference between interest and ability. So, interests are things that we enjoy doing. Interest may include activities you like to do at school and in your free time that make you happy. So, activities you are curious about or would do even if no one asks you to do it, and activities you want to learn or would like to do it in the future. So, the ability, on the other hand, is an acquired or natural capacity that enables an individual to perform a particular job or task with considerable proficiency. So, sometimes interest may not match the abilities. In those cases, you can either improve your abilities or follow some other path. For example, you may like cricket, but you may not be able to play due to the necessary power or skill required to play the game. So, in that case, it is not necessary to try to become a cricketer. Next is self confidence. So, self confidence is a sense of trusting one's ability and self. If you are an intelligent, hardworking, and talented person but lack confidence and avoid taking initiative, then it may be difficult for others to recognize your talent. So, self confidence can be developed through changes in attitude and consider this example. Neeraj had difficulty in speaking English. He therefore avoided talking to his classmates. He believed that he can learn English by joining English speaking classes, and in few days he was able to speak English fluently. Shalini was preparing for her final board exams and she feared that she will not get good marks in English because of her poor memory. So this made her nervous before the exam and she actually got poor marks in the exam. So these are examples of confidence and lack of confidence. So this boy had confidence and the other had the self-confidence is a quality we build when we believe in our strength to succeed in anything we do in life. So, people who are confident believe that they can do anything given to them in any situation. So, qualities of self-confident people, they are self-belief, hard work, positive attitude, and commitment. Self-belief, that is, Thomas Edison made thousands of prototypes of the incandescent light bulb before he could finally invent the bulb. In spite of struggling with repeated failures, his resilience and belief in self gave the world one of the most amazing products, that is bulb. Then hard work. Deepa Karmakar, despite having a flat foot at the age of 6, worked hard to become the first Indian female gymnast ever to compete in Olympics. Then positive attitude. So positive attitude is nothing but focus on positive even in the time of adversity. The situation of losing a game can be perceived as long something or as an opportunity to review the game strategies and improve to win in the future. So, commitment. Mahatma Gandhi, the leader of Indian independence movement, was highly committed to the cause of making India free from the British Raj. So he employed non-violence, civil disobedience to get India independence. So it was his commitment towards his goal. So, next is building of self confidence. The three steps to build self confidence are appreciate achievements and accept failures. So, whatever achievements you get, you should appreciate it, and whatever failures you get, you should accept that. For example, celebrate the achievements when the team wins a competition. Articulate learning when the team loses a competition. If the team loses something, the competition, you should just learn that what are your mistakes, what you have done, what mistakes you have made. So you should learn from that. Next is have a goal and take steps towards it. For example, if you have won bronze at an event, set the goal to win gold medal next time and take action for it. Then always look at the good side and be happy. For example, if you have lost a match, celebrate the efforts of those team members who performed well. Talk to people who are confident and try to gain. So, given below are some factors that describe self confidence. So, when we think we cannot do a particular work, when we keep thinking of our past mistakes and feel bad about it instead of learning from them, then when we expect to be successful at the time first attempt itself and do not try again, when we are surrounded by people who have a negative attitude which is reflected in their speech. So these factors will reduce our self confidence. So what steps should one take to build confidence? Set goals in life, appreciate oneself for all the achievements, always think positively, talk to people who are confident. So in this you have to select the best answer which builds your confidence. So the first step in achieving goal is appreciate oneself for all the achievements. So if you have achievement, then appreciate your achievement. So we can consider this as the apt answer. All the answers are correct, but we can consider this one as the apt one. Then which of the following is a quality of a self-confident person? They are patient, compassionate, committed, passionate. It is the qualities is commitment. Next is positive. So what would happen if ants, one of the smallest creatures of nature, thought that they are so small that they cannot do anything? They would probably be extinct. But ants have they would probably be extinct by now. But ants never considered being small as weakness. Instead, they work really hard to get through each day. An ant can lift up to 20 times its own body weight. A positive attitude to life can help us succeed like ants. Similarly, if an individual has a positive attitude towards life and its challenges, he or she can overcome them and grow positively in life and work. So, positive thinking and its importance. A person's attitude can be considered either positive or negative. Positive thinking requires a person to look at the good in things, observe, understand, and patiently work towards improving them rather than worrying and or looking for the bad in things. Positive thinking leads to good results for you, like overcoming challenges, making you do well or making you an energetic individual, helping you get better at work, and making you and people around you happy. So, let us consider some examples of negative thinking and some positive thinking. So, negative thinking include I did not get enough marks to choose the science stream, my life is ruined. My team lost the match because of me. Example of positive thinking. I did not get enough marks to choose the science stream, but that's not the end of my life. I can consider options in other streams. My team lost the match today, but we can see how we can do better next time. How to keep your thinking positive. So, there are few simple steps to cultivate a positive attitude in life. Let us understand this with the help of an abbreviation SMILE. SMILE means start your day in a positive way. For example, exercising, reading or watching, sometimes motivating, talking to people who are positive and make you smile. Then manage time to relax. For example, sit in a relaxed position and just feel how you are breathing. You can do yoga and meditation or listen to music to relax and stay calm. Then imagine the best in any situation. For example, do not keep thinking of things that are going badly. Instead, think how you can make them better. Then learn to take feedback in a positive way. For example, if sometimes someone gives you feedback objectively, thinking how it will help you to improve and start working on it. Then express gratitude. For example, be thankful for all the good things you have to people who have helped you, or pat your back for the good things you have done. What is the best way to start our day positively? Think about all that can go wrong. Think about the difficult test you will face during the day. Think about all your accomplishments so far and feel good about it. Think about the traffic on the road and feel stressed. So, to stay positive, you should think like this. Then Rahul gets feedback on his project and project work from his class teacher. Which of these options demonstrate positive attitude in this situation? Rahul ignores the feedback. Rahul takes the feedback, but Rahul tells others that teacher is wrong. Rahul learns from the feedback and makes the project work better. Then, what can you do to get rid of negative thoughts or feelings? Meditate to calm down and feel positive. Ignore them and move on life. Act based on the negative thoughts or feelings. Talk to a friend and share all your negative feelings. What can you do to get rid of negative thoughts or feelings? So you can meditate to calm down and feel positive. Next is personal hygiene. It is the habit or practice of keeping ourselves clean. Cleanliness helps us to maintain our health and well-being. So being healthy allows you to be regular at school, college or work. So Rashmi is a beautician and takes special care that she does not have a bad breath because she works closely with customers. Then Prashant is a receptionist at a 4-star hotel. He makes sure his clothes are always clean with no sweat or food stains. These are examples of personal hygiene. Personal hygiene is important because it helps us to stay healthy, create a good image of ourselves, avoid feeling ashamed in public due to our bad breath, then body odor, etc. So, 3 steps to personal hygiene. They are Care. Keep your hair free of dandruff. Rub cream to take oil or cream to take care of your skin. Brush your teeth daily. Change your toothbrush as soon as it D-shapes. Cut your nails every week. Then wash. Wash your hands frequently. Take bath every day. Then wash your clothes regularly. Wash your hair at least every second day. Then wash your feet often. Then avoid. Blow your nose cuff into a handkerchief to avoid spreading germs. Then keep your feet dry and change your socks every day. Essential steps of hand washing. So, wet hands with water. Apply enough soap to cover all the hand surface. Rub hands palm to palm. Then right palm over the left dorsum and vice versa. Palm to palm with fingers interlaced. Back to fingers to opposite palm with fingers interlocked. Then rotational rubbing of left thumb clasped in the right palm and vice versa. Rub inner surface of palms. Rub inner surface using thumb. Then rinse hands thoroughly with water. Use towel to dry. Use hands. Your hands are now clean. Do you think people living in hill stations can skip taking a bath for many days? No, irrespective of the climate, one should take a bath regularly. Yes, not taking bath for many days is acceptable for people staying in cold climate. Yes, if they wipe themselves with a wet cloth, then it is fine. None of the above. So, which is the apt answer? Irrespective of the climate, one should take bath regularly. If they are in cold climate, they can use hot waters. Then Radha wants to grow her hair and she applies a lot of hair oil. She does not wash her hair for days and sometimes it smells bad too. What would be your suggestion to her? She can leave the oil in her hair. After all, it helps her hair to grow. She can leave it on at night and wash her hair every day before leaving home. She should not apply the oil at all. She can apply the oil and pour a little water on her hair before leaving home to reduce the smell. So, which is the apt answer? She can leave it on night and wash her hair every day before leaving home. So, this will be the correct answer. Next is grooming. Grooming and its importance. So, dressing is the action of putting on clothes, and grooming is the process of making yourself look neat, tidy, and smart. So, the way you dress and groom can either send the message that you are confident, smart, and sincere, or possess opposite qualities. So, dressing and grooming are important because they help us look smart, feel confident about ourselves, make a good impression of ourselves. Like examples of good dressing: clean clothes, clean face, short hair for boys, and neatly tied hair for girls. Minimum or no flashy things on your dress to school. So, guidelines for dressing and grooming: clothes should be clean, neat, and ironed. Shoes should be clean and polished. Change socks every day and always wear clean socks. Keep accessories like belt, jewelry, etc. simple. In certain jobs, display of bodily tattoos and piercing is not accepted. Then hair should be washed regularly to keep clean. Then simple hairstyles and well combed hair gives a smart look. Then face looks clean if you shave regularly. Mustache should be neatly trimmed. Teeth should be kept clean without any stains. Brush the teeth twice a day to maintain dental hygiene. Avoid eating pan or chewing betel. So, dressing and grooming are important because they help us to look smart, untidy, shabby. So, they help us to look smart. The following image is an example of informal, formal, both of the above. It looks like informal. Then the following image is an example of dash t-shirt. Informal, formal. It is also an example of informal t-shirt. Okay, thank you children. This chapter is over. We can wind up the class.